Hello everyone and welcome to another Historic video. So today we're going to be taking a look at blue-white Highnoon deck in Historic format. So this list comes from Beno7634. I was looking at tournament result today and then I saw this blue-white Highnoon deck. I haven't really played blue-white Highnoon in this channel recently, so I want to take a look at how the deck has changed, and honestly it has changed quite a bit. So the biggest problem I had when I played Highnoon before was that it didn't have good interactions early. Like, if you can get the Highnoon down without dying, you can mostly win the game, but trying to get there is another puzzle in itself, right? And this deck, on the other hand, is playing this card called Into the Flood Maw, which is a card that I didn't main deck before, nor did I have it in the sideboard. And I kind of like this way better than something like a Fragment of Reality, because the thing about Highnoon is, if you can get it down, we don't really care about how many cards are in opponent's hand, since they can only play one card per turn. So having something like a Into the Flood Maw that can literally bounce anything is actually so good. On the other hand, this deck is playing Tamiyo, which means that a popular turn 2 from us, which is Highnoon, if opponent plays a Fragment of Reality on the Highnoon, we can get a Tamiyo off of it, which is really nice as well. And another early game interaction this deck is playing is called Cyclonic Rift, which is actually such a sick card because not only is it a bounce spell similar to Into the Flood Maw, but if you overload this for 7 mana, which means instead of paying the spell's cost, you play the overload cost instead, which replaces all instances of target with each. So when you overload this, it's going to say return each non-land permanent you don't control to its owner's hand, which is basically a board wipe. So if you have Highnoon or Archon down on the battlefield, that means even against something like Energy, where they would have like a Transform Dajani, things like that, everything just goes back to their hand. And lastly, this deck is also playing a card that I haven't really tested before, which is this card over here. It's a 4-mana card called Talion's Throne Guard. Now, this card has been popping up recently in Blue-White Highnoon list, and similar to Spell Queller and even Interrupter, you can basically buy a turn. But something that's special about this is that not only can you just like put a target spell back into the hand, similar to Reprieve, but you can also bounce a permanent that's already on the battlefield. So this is especially useful against resolved things that are pretty dangerous, and at the same time, it's a 4/2 flyer, which is actually kind of insane. But before I go, I did change the deck ever so slightly. This deck actually used to have 2 or 3 copies of Jace, which I didn't really understand. So instead of Jace, we're playing more, even Interrupters, things like that. So, if you want to play with Jace, go ahead, but I think this deck is better without it. So, hence that, I'm going to be hopping over to some Historic BO3 to show you guys what the deck does. So, let's hop on there. Alright, trying out the Blue-White Highnoon again. So we'll see how this one does. Ooh, Highnoon. That's a good sign. Ruby Medallion. How are they going to beat a Highnoon that's in play when they're trying to combo off? Oh my god. That is so sad. That is so sad. There's that Bergie. There's that Bergie. Ral? I think I'll run out the Spell Puller first. Attack. And I think I'll play out the Containment Priest and hold up a Reprieve. Because it seems like they don't have like instant speed spell right now. Because this way I have some pressure. And even if they don't play anything, we can, pretty good. Now, I might want to double block here, potentially. Boom. All right. Guess I'll attack with the Even Interrupter. It's so sad that they actually queued against us when they're playing when they're trying to storm off, right? That's so funny. Nope. So we have 4 damage plus 5. Two, 4, 6. So they're dead. Yeah, unfortunately, this is gonna be pretty one-sided because, you know, our little High Noon here. So we don't want Containment Priest in this matchup. Probably Tishana, maybe. We might want some Tishana. Calarian Conqueror? Maybe not. I think we just work with this, honestly. So they're gonna bring some, like, enchantment removals, probably. High Noon. Insane. Ruby Medallion. So, I think, let's just play it. Let's just play it. Because if they don't have a way to get rid of a High Noon, like, immediately, we just win. So, Bergie. We pass. Seems like they might actually have a 1-mana removal spell for the High Noon. So what should I do? I can Spell Queller this. But if they have a removal spell... But... Let's try it. Attack. Short. Okay, so that's gonna be their entire turn. Short. Demolition Field. We pass. Valakut's Awakening. So what should I do? Should I get rid of that Stomping Ground here? Oh, what the... What? I wanted them to discard and then Demolition Field. Okay. So... Let's grab another white. I think I'm going to Into the Flood Maw. So they got another green source. I'm going to bounce the Burgi. Okay. Oh, very nice. Okay, so this is my first time playing with the Talion's Throne Guard. Pretty excited about that. Okay, so they found another Nature's Claim. Bum bum bum. Short. Ooh, okay, that's actually pretty good. VV. Okay, short. Three mana card. I think I'm just going to get rid of this. And then so they're gonna be able to play one more card. I think we just let the guard down and then play Archon and call it a day. All right. Okay, we pass. So that's gonna be their entire turn. I might not even need to play this. I was thinking about playing this, but like we don't care about the faithless looting, right? Like, do we care about this? No, right? We just take the 3 damage. Nice. 3 steps ahead. Okay. That might be just GG's. I think we just play the Talion's Throne Guard and just win the game here. Alright, GG's. Okay, first time casting it. Already loving it. 4 damage. Okay, we got a Highnoon with the Remand. Okay, so they have a 1 damage spell. What is going on? Another one?
My genius is rotting.
No way. Huh? How can we get a back-to-back a storm deck? I mean, Ral doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna be a storm deck, but you know? I don't get it. I mean, this is like 1 damage a turn, so I'm not like tripping over. I'm just going to play out Containment Priest. So you have to win the flip, and then it transforms. Okay. Okay. I guess I kind of just want to run out creatures so that we have a blocker. Like, they're going to run out counterspell someday, right? Just keep playing. Just keep playing creatures. Nope. Alright, we have a blocker. Fantastic. So, to create a token, we need one more land. Need one more land. Yeah, it's actually a pretty interesting dynamic because, like, if you have a high noon down, both people, like, kind of stare at each other, right? Wow. They're playing him. I mean... Let's just reprieve this. We're trying to get to our lands as much as possible. Okay, so what does this do? Deal 2 damage divided by... Okay, if it transforms, it's good for me, right? Because 2 damage, and then you draw a card. I mean, I could just kill the Rel as well. Maybe I just kill the Rel. You know what? Let's remand. Oh my god, they're so unlucky. How are they so unlucky? How are they so unlucky? Alright, so... Boop, boop, boop. Okay, let's just create a token. And then eat this. I mean, worst case scenario, we're gonna lose one creature, right? With the removal spell. Like, that's fine, I think. Jace. Okay. Kind of surprised by that. Because Jace just dies. Right? I mean, it's not like they have any choice. Right? It's not like they have any choice. Okay, so it was a Flame of Anor. Got another Highnoon. I think it's a Throne Guard time. We take the 3. Oh, no. Alright, so
Giving me so many.
unfortunately Ral transformed here. Which means I can't really play this card. Right? Because then they can just deal 2 damage and then kill it. So I guess we just have to do this. If we want to kill the Ral here.
Supercharged and super ready.
And then we play Talion. Bounce that back. Kill the Ral. Boom.
Failure finds me even here.
Okay. We're gonna let this go because there's nothing we can do about that. You're gonna attack? Really? When I have a Hollow the Storm Giant? Again, like, they don't really have a choice. Right, Kaleem comes in. Containment Priest out. Tishana's Tidebinder is actually kind of sick. We definitely go down on Divine Purge. Maybe all of them. Maybe all of them. I'll add a Surgical for a Snapcaster. Boom. Alright. We do have a Remand. Cameo.
Curious. I must investigate this scroll further.
I'll say pretty strong. Yeah, turn 1 Tameo, that's a bit cheating, I would say. I would say. I think we just, like, start jamming cards in, maybe? So... I think I would play Tishana's Tidebinder if I had 1 more mana. Because if I have 1 more mana here, I can go with Tishana here, leave up a Remand, things like that. After I play the Archon when the Tishana gets countered. Whoa. I didn't expect a Lotus Field to come out. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't expect a Lotus Field to come out here. Okay. Interesting. Definitely interesting. So I don't have to do anything. I don't really have to do anything here. We just keep attacking. Keep attacking. Rebel Shanty. Okay, so they want to counter into that. Sure. Ooh, High Noon. So next turn we can go like High Noon plus Archon. 2 mana Rebel Shanty. Wow. So Tamio can't transform this turn because opponent already drew 2 cards. Alright, I think we won. So we get the High Noon down. I mean, maybe not. Maybe not. So they haven't used a count. They have used 1 counter spell so far. They have 5 mana. They do have a 5 mana here. Was playing out the High Noon like the wrong play? It could have been. So in response to me playing this March, oh wow, that is huge. That castle is humongous. That is humongous. All right. Just keep making 1/1s. Another High Noon. Okay. Another High Noon. Herbal Shanty. Okay. Let's go with the Spell Queller. Zone information. So they're basically dead. Because I can crack the High Noon anytime I want. Jace. Okay, so they have a removal spell, it seems. Into the Floodmaw. Okay. Yeah, this deck is very nasty. Alright. This hand looks very slow. I'm going second here. Yeah, I'm not very happy with what happened there. Feels bad. At least I'm going second, so I get to draw a card. Okay, goodbye, Highnoon. Ooh. Yeah, at least that's a good pickup.
This is an interesting story.
I think if I can draw one card with the Tameo, I'm kind of happy because I mulligan down to 5, right? Okay, that's a pretty huge miss. I think I do need to play that because Soren potentially coming down. Okay, so they got a land. That's a very bad news. We also got double tap lands here. Okay, very nice. I'm definitely scared. I am definitely scared. Now it's like wide open. They can do anything they want. Another Belmerk. Okay, so they got Soren. That's not good. That is definitely not good. At the very least, I did get into the Flood Maw, which is, I guess, pretty good. I think we let it go and then make it become a token and then we into the Flood Maw. So, opponent decided not to play the Sorin. There's a good chance opponent doesn't have Saint Alenda, right? Also, opponent's almost dead. 8 life? Oh wow. That's actually kind of huge. I think I'm just going to Flood Maw now. Nice, that's a pretty good one. Can this bounce one of your own? When this creature enters, return up to 1 target spell or non-net permanent to its owner's hand. So I can even like make one of my cards go up to my hand. Potentially. Let's see.
Welcome to the family.
Okay. The thing is, they have another Sorin here. Oh, that's so smart that they gain life using that. Right? That's so smart. The Dollmaker comes out. So we need Aven Interrupter. That is how we're gonna win. Okay, Remand is decent. Remand is decent. Seven, 9.
Come for you one day.
Pretty close game despite mulliganing down to 5. If we get one counter spell off of this Remand, I think we might be good to go. Come on. Come on! Nice! Oh. So clutch. Mulligan to 5. Man. That does feel really good. I'm not gonna lie. That feels really good. Oh man. I'm so hyped. I am so hyped right now. Okay, so these are all good cards, right? Surgical, Containment Priest, Clarion, and Tishana. We also want, like, bounce spells. I guess Divine Purge is pretty bad. March is also kinda bad. I think 3 steps ahead can be cut like 1 copy of. Cyclonic Rift can be okay, but probably not. I think I'm gonna cut Archon because we're bringing in a Clearing Conqueror. Also, my voice is all kinds of messed up right now. Just been talking too much recently. Just been talking way too much. We have not 1, not 2, but 3 ways of getting rid of opponents' Sorin here. So if they play Sorin, we into the Floodmaw. Easy peasy. If not... Okay. Bolgart Troller. I guess this is Tishana's Tidebinder turn, maybe? We take the 5. So there's that Sorin.
Blood was my beginning.
And then we Tishana's Tidebinder.
Our veins thirst for life.
Boom. And then we play Clarion Conqueror. Hold up into the Floodmaw. A Disruptor Flute. Short. Why did they bring this, by the way? Kind of interesting, actually. That's a pretty good one. That is a pretty good one.
That will cost you dearly.
Why did I just shock? Okay, that's a mistake. I just shocked for no reason. Belmerk. Guess we let it go and then bounce the token. Kind of rough, honestly. They have a lot of creatures. They do have a lot of creatures. I mean, I guess the Sorin doesn't do anything. So we just sit back. Overlord again. I mean, the thing about the Overlord is we do have a bounce spell, so the problem is they're like spamming the board, which isn't very good for me. They might just like all attack here. No. Okay. Now we can Highnoon into the Flood Maw. Okay. Maybe I should have actually played this so that I can reanimate the Hall of the Storm Giant. Another Bogart Trawler. We gotta land. They are going to attack. Oh, very nice. Very nice, very nice. We might be able to stabilize here. There's a very good chance we might be able to stabilize. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Dedicated Dollmaker. I just want to play out as many creatures as I can at the moment. So I have like blockers and stuff like that. We're gonna attack.
You have only won a battle.
Another Dedicated Dollmaker. I think we got this. I think we got this here. Boom, boom.
I've read nearly the entire library.
Go back to your hand. This was a pretty tough game, I'm not gonna lie. This was actually a pretty tough game. You know what? I don't think it changes the clock too much. 5, 7, 9, right? Right. GG's. So there is a little bit of a non-bo here. Clarion Conquer and Tamio doesn't work together. So maybe in this kind of matchup, I mean, that's not true because if they like bring like Fragment Reality, I guess I would be able to get Tamio off of it. Alright, so we took a look at this deck today. My voice is a little bit, you know, shot because this is my second video that I'm recording today. Usually I do like one video per day, but yeah, I mean, I do talk a lot during my videos, so usually like the second video that I do kind of lose out on most of my voice, so there's my excuse there. But this deck is pretty sick. I mean, this deck has come a very long way, honestly. When I first started playing this deck, obviously it wasn't like a fine-tuned. We didn't even have like Tamio, we didn't have Talion's Throne Guard, right? We had we even had 4 cups of Archons, but now the deck has been played quite a bit and it has kind of evolved into a pretty solid deck. So the biggest thing this deck lacked was early game interactions. So usually this deck actually played things like, you know, Fragment Reality, things like that. But the problem with the Fragment Reality is this is supposed to be like, you know, quote unquote tempo deck. But if you play Fragment Reality, you lose tempo because not only did you go down on the card, but if you exiled a Tuna card, it's pretty bad, right? I kind of like the fact that this deck is playing into the Floodmaw main deck as a 2-of. So because the thing about this deck is you don't really care about opponent having a large amount of cards in their hand, right? Because at the end of the day, you can only play 1 card per turn because of a Highnoon and Archon. So Into the Floodmaw is just so perfect because it can just bounce anything, and all they get is a 1/1. I'm about to lose all my voice right now. So I really like the evolution of this deck. Now it's also playing things like Cyclonic Rift, which is also pretty sick because this is like an early game interaction, but it can also turn into board wipe because it only bounces opponent's permanent. If you do have the Highnoon down, it can be pretty deadly. 3 Steps Ahead is already a, you know, a card that I played last time, so I'm not really going to talk about this too much. And I'm not really sure about the Steam Vent, but last time I think I did play Rogaran Triumph, but having at least like 4 copies of, you know, red mana lets you able to fire off Highnoon, so if you tempo them out with these cards, you can potentially just kill your opponent with Highnoon as well. And I do quite like the Tamio addition to the deck because now if they like Fragment Reality, like Highnoon, for example, you can get a Tamio out of it, so it's really nice. And lastly, so this is not a card that I played last time. This is completely new. And this is fantastic because it has 4 attack and it's a flyer, right? So you can tempo this card out and it's actually pretty deadly. So yeah, the only change I made, right? For some reason this deck was playing Jace. It was playing like 2 or 3 copies of Jace in the main deck. I don't like it, so I just decided not to play it. That's all I did. So yeah, pretty nice sideboard. I like the fact that I like the choices. Like it's main decking a copy of a Containment Priest. It's not playing Fragment Reality because it's like minus tempo. It's also playing like 2 copies of Colleen, which is good against like control deck. And I do like 2 copies of a Clarion Conqueror and a copy of Tishana. I think I played 3 copies of Clarion Conqueror before, and I kind of like the copy of Tishana just because this like you know, it has flash. So yeah, that is gonna be it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye bye.